The most significant thing that has not changed is the core of America's policing problem. Since Floyd's murder last year, American police are using force at the exact same rate. They are shooting and killing Americans at the same rate this year as last year. They're heading for roughly the same annual toll of police killing 1,000 people per year. You need to know the disturbing fact on your screen here. Think about it. After all this protest, pressure, heat, scrutiny, the videotaped evidence, a murder conviction, the new laws, the prospect of more laws, if all that doesn't even budge the rate of lethal force, we have to ask, how did this lethal force become this entrenched? We have to ask, if we aim to reduce these killings, then doesn't it become clear that far stronger reforms would be needed to even budge this rate of killing? This chart shows America's policing problem. This steady grind of killings, including of many unarmed people, that police departments themselves often later admit were mistakes or tragedies, the taking of innocent life. Every point on this chart is a dead person, a family grieving. Now, experts say some of those incidents involve justified use of force and others do not, where police departments admit it. But even before you reach the legal question of whether those incidents are chargeable murder, we got to face this. Our nation has to understand the fact of how this grinds on at the same rate this year as last year, despite all the calls for change. I repeat, each point on the chart is a person, people across America who found the police were the danger. With more videos over this year showing how police use force. Wisconsin police shooting an unarmed man, Jacob Blake, in the back 7 times, paralyzing him for life. California police tracking down an unarmed man who they said jaywalked in broad daylight, Kurt Reinhold, and then they shot him to death. Or back near George Floyd's community, Minnesota police killing an unarmed father, Dante Wright, in his car. Or just last month, police shooting Andrew Brown to death as he appeared to drive away from them. Police claim they feared for their lives. But the video showed it was Brown who feared for his and lost his. Those are just 4 points on this chart. The wider data shows one reason why this continues. The special powers and immunities the police enjoy in America have not changed this year. Consider police immunity in unions. A handful of states, as mentioned, did reform immunity. But the norm is shielding police from accountability in both criminal and civil court. The immunity ending most potential cases against police before they begin. So most officers never face even a public civil trial about alleged misconduct, let alone a conviction. And special immunity for police is something that was just made up by judges, providing what's become an absolute shield, as Justice Sotomayor explained in a dissent about the doctrine. She says it encourages police to shoot first and think later. Those immunities are fortified by police unions' huge ongoing power, which goes beyond labor rights. They can scrub disciplinary records, disqualify citizen allegations. All of this has been found as a factual matter to directly and positively correlate to police abusing their powers, an issue shown by the system that coddled and protected the person who killed Floyd, convicted murderer Chauvin. Many citizens previously tried to blow the whistle on the danger he posed, over 17 known misconduct allegations, but most were scrubbed from his file. He faced scant discipline, let alone any public lawsuit. Minneapolis using a police-friendly rule that finds even credible concerns that don't end in punishment are then automatically scrubbed from an officer's record because the police unions demand it. These systems of police power protected Chauvin at great risk to the community. Another thing that hasn't changed, most prosecutors still operate with structural conflicts of interest and secrecy for their police colleagues. So police cases involving DAs having to investigate usually their own shops, which rarely works. That problem on display last week when a DA cleared officers of any wrongdoing despite video showing police shot a man to death when he didn't appear to be a major threat while driving away. The DA flatly admitting he would hide body cam videos that show more of the story, releasing only clips that he thought helped the police.
So this is actual a display. I'm not releasing the video.
Can you replay the video?
The car wasn't.
I'm not going to.
Can the media get the video of you having the presentation?
Any other release of this will be done through the courts.
When he says through the courts, he means he won't release the accurate video evidence of what the police did unless a judge makes it illegal for him to keep hiding it. If that sounds backwards when it comes to justice, that's because it is. Now, judges often defer to prosecutors because the idea is they're supposed to know how to best try their cases. But this is structural. Even an honest man can't really be expected to try an aggressive case against himself or his best friends, in this case, his daily police colleagues. That's why it's structural. So you take it all together, and where are we on this anniversary right now? The murder of George Floyd did spark a movement. And that movement did achieve measurable change at the level of the individual case, as I reported for you tonight, and some policy reform. That is real. The movement earned wider support as people saw the facts of what police did to Floyd and others on video. You can see it rising, but then look as time wore on. Now many Americans turning away from support for Black Lives Matter, going back to where they were. And what does that mean? Well, even Americans who said they supported reform last summer are eager to move on, to talk about something else, to think about something else, to claim maybe things got a little better, so now it's time to move on. Okay. That may sound appealing to some people, to change the subject. But it is wrong. Because what has not changed is the steady rate of police killings. An epidemic that shows why so many Americans cannot just move on because they live in places where these killings are routine, a scary part of daily life. A danger never eradicated, rarely legally punished, a risk that has no guarantee of escape, even if you follow every rule and get a good job and buy a home and become a parent, even if you avoid ever owning a weapon despite your constitutional right to have one, because this is a nation where you can get killed in broad daylight after being accused of jaywalking or walking towards your own kids in your own car, or facing what is a peaceful accusation that at worst you're accused of using a counterfeit bill. This is a nation where the supposed order that supposedly benefits some of us comes at the immoral cost of routinely killing others of us, other people, human beings who are unarmed, who are not dangerous, who are executed on the spot. So until that changes, it won't feel like much is changing. This is not a time for automatic pessimism or hopelessness, nor is it a time to overly celebrate that some steps towards a fairness long overdue and long denied has now been taken. It's been a year. This is a time for reality and facts. And if the facts make you angry, then it's a time for anger and action too.